Hi Pisces, welcome to your June 2017 love reading for single people. It's Raina here. I'm doing an experiment. If you're interested in my general love reading, which is kind of funny to say, but I did label it for relationships, but it's just an overview for your sign. You can also check that out. But this is specifically for singles. But, you know, it's funny because as I do these readings, other people still creep into the readings. And that would make sense. Unless you're 16 years old and you've never had a date before, chances are you have a history, and other people may affect your current state of mind, even your relationships. They may try to interfere, or they may try to get you back. So it's a little bit misleading to just talk about singles and couples, because there is an in-between. And there's a lot of in-between, a lot of gray area. But it is what it is, right? So, as you can see, I already laid out the cards because I was just totally meandering. And I just had to start all over again. I was rambling. So the overall theme is the Six of Cups, and this is a card that is associated with water energy, Cancer, your sign, and Scorpio. But I think it's specifically for Cancer, not 100% on that, because it deals with nostalgia in the past, and that's certainly Cancerian. History, children, sentimentality. But I also associate it with Pisces in that this could be a soulmate situation. And so whether you have met somebody that makes you feel that way, like intuitively, you have a feeling you've known this person before, or you are going to meet this person. This is a kind of a theme overall. So this is for June. Maybe it's somebody you've recently met, or maybe it's an ex, or somebody, you know, from childhood that's just, that you were just friends with their brother or sister, and you've known them forever, but you haven't heard from them in 30 years. And maybe during the Venus retrograde you heard from them. Who knows? There's so many possibilities. But whoever this person is, there's this feeling of innocence, this feeling of the past that is creeping into this situation. And it could be twin flames, it could be soulmate, where it just feels like it fits, like it's right. Or maybe you really, really want that in your life. Maybe you've had so much situation of the opposite where you haven't felt like you've really vibed with your partner, and now you want that more than ever. In the past position, we have the Empress card, which is a card associated with Taurus and Libra, because Venus is the ruler of both of those signs, and that's the card associated with Venus is associated with this card. But it could be that the other person is a Taurus, or a past relationship was with a Taurus. I feel that for some people, obviously would have to be women, that you may have wanted to become a mother. And maybe you're getting to that time where either you're old enough to become one, 20s and 30s, or you're getting to the point where you're afraid you never will be one, the 40s. And this is also a card of creativity and sensuality. And it's possible that maybe some of you put yourself on ice and just recently have started to doll yourself up again because you're ready to go back out. I was going to say on the prowl, but I don't mean it like that. I mean just unless you identify as a cougar or something like that. But I mean just, you know, dating scene again. Maybe there was a long drought where you didn't feel like it. You didn't see any good prospects. And maybe there is this person in some way what is with you at this time is represented by the Six of Pentacles. This is a card of equity, and I see it in terms of self-esteem, of attracting somebody who will be worthy of you. And Pisces, we know that that is something that may elude you sometimes if you're not careful, where you do not choose the person who is right for you. And some of this comes from compassion and pitying people, falling in love with the wrong person because of their problems. This is a relationship of equals, and that's why the scales are there. Also because of Pentacles, it could be with an earth sign. Maybe it is with a Taurus. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But there's a feeling of balance in this relationship. The person is a full-blown responsible adult, and they're not going to expect more from you than they're willing to give themselves. And this is one of those things that can only come about when you're very, very conscious of it, because there are plenty of people who get involved in patterns where they get taken advantage of, and it happens over and over and over again. And there may be different faces, but it's the same scenario. It is so weird how that happens. But the reason it happens is because the person, you know, I really do believe in the law of attraction. I do believe we attract certain types of people to us based on our consciousness. And it has to be true, because sometimes you don't know all that much about somebody. It's not like you're trying to meet somebody who is screwed up in the head, but you just manage to have this knack for that happening. So how does this happen? It's just random? I don't think so. I think that it definitely boils down to discernment. In other words, how you judge character, and also about intention, or, you know, that kind of cosmic, the vibes that you give out. So I think those two things, so part of it is energetic, and part of it is just with your mind, how you view things. And the higher message is the Judgment card. So this is the card of karma. And underneath that Six of Cups, it could be saying that you, I know this is weird, you deserve a break today. Remember that saying? I think it was McDonald's or something, or Burger King. But it really is like, I see this as a positive card. This is not necessarily a warm and fuzzy card. This can be like the chickens coming home to roost, and, you know, what you sow you shall reap. But a lot of times I see this as a triumphant card. With the Six of Pentacles, there could even be a legal judgment, and that could be that you're getting alimony or something related to, or they're dividing the assets of your divorce. And this is just a card about you are ending that thing. You came through it with flying colors, and you did not become destroyed in the process, you know, and that's wonderful. You're really, this is a rebirth period for you. And for some of you, if there was somebody from your past many years ago, and something happened that caused the two of you to go your separate ways, they may come back, they may find their way back to you, and maybe they have. It sounds like they have, if that's the focus card, the Six of Cups. And now you can do it right. You know, maybe, like, okay, here's a perfect example. You're in high school, and you fall in love with someone, and your parents disapprove of this person. Maybe they're of a different race, or they're of a different religion, and they keep you apart. And maybe you try to sneak around, or you do that, but you eventually go your separate ways. and you both get married, or, you know, all these things happen, and then you find them again. If you're like truly single and there's nobody in your life, these cards can simply mean that this is something that you want more than anything. And the Judgment card is about what you sow, you shall reap. Just like the Six of Pentacles, what you give out is, you know, is something you give out, but there's has to be balance. The person's holding the scales. So do you give more than you get in a relationship? And if so, this is the result. This is the spiritual message. So for anyone, whether you're somebody who's been divorced, maybe you've been divorced more than one time, or you've lived with multiple people and you've always had a negative result, or if you've never really fallen in love, but you want to desperately, the Judgment card is about cause and effect. And Pisces has to stop seeing themselves as victims of fate. Yes, I do believe that there is, that things happen for a reason. And I also believe some things are destiny. Maybe some of the people we meet and the experiences we have. But that does not abdicate me of responsibility in my choices, nor you. And also the way you see yourself. If you see yourself in a very victim-oriented light of maybe you always tell people about how you've been victimized, and in terms of your relationships, all the times when people have done you wrong, that's falling in love with your victimhood. And, you know, law of attraction says whatever you put focus on increases. So are you in love with that idea of being a victim? You know, does it give you a feeling of identity? Of, you know, having a place in the world, even if it's a negative connotation. It's something that only you can reflect upon and do something about. What crosses you is the Ten of Wands. This is kind of reiterating what I said about the Six of Pentacles. And, oh, by the way, about the Six of Pentacles, watch out too for even monetary situations where somebody tries to scam you. You know, take your money that way. And this can happen, obviously, just in any kind of get-rich-quick scheme, or any time that somebody's selling something and you might fall for the sales pitch. But also in relationships, that you're with somebody who is using you in some way, and it could be monetarily. But regardless of what's happening, this is the card to focus on, because it's like, what are you doing to attract these situations? If you comply, if you go along with that program, then you have to expect more of the same. This card, the Ten of Wands, is about somebody working their fingers to the bone. But you see what they're doing. They're carrying this very heavy load. So they are the type of person who might take on more than they can bear. And this is a card associated with working too hard and possibly risking burnout in the process. But you can apply this to relationships. Taking on responsibility that doesn't belong to you, whether it's for somebody else's life, keeping them together so they can function, you know, which somebody does with someone who has an addiction, for instance, or, you know, trying to save them from themselves because they're very self-destructive, or, you know, even like, even psychologically, You may feel responsible for somebody's feelings. This is what codependency is about. It's all those things rolled into one. And Pisces people can be super codependent because you're natural empaths and you naturally take on the feelings of those around you. That's why choosing your company is so critical when you are a Pisces or anybody with a lot of water in their charts or contacts to Neptune, things that might indicate that they are a channel and that they have a tendency to be super sensitive. You know, they call psychics sensitives, and that's, you know, because they have that sensitivity to the unseen world or realm. And so you have to guard against taking on the responsibility of things that other people should do for themselves, whether it's work, whether it's, you know, supporting themselves financially, their mental health. It's not your job to be somebody's cheerleader, and in terms of like trying to make them happy because they're always in a negative mindset. It's not your job to support somebody, to be a nurse because they're always hungover or they have other health problems because they're using. It's not your responsibility. Now, I'm not saying that we never do this for loved ones. You know, sometimes loved ones have problems and we fall into that that behavior by the fact that we love that person. But we're talking here about the entry into a relationship. So that we're not talking about something that is well established. So you have to be careful that you don't fall into that trap of getting involved with somebody who has addictive tendencies and wants you to kind of pick them up when they fall down all the time, and keep them on the straight and narrow if they are in recovery. You know, it's funny, AA says not to get involved with somebody else for 1 year after you have gotten sober. And the reason for that is really a good one. I don't agree with everything with AA, but I agree with that, which is that when you're first recovering, you have a lot of time when there's a lot of, changes that occur. And so getting involved in a relationship just challenges that because you're changing so much. So much has to change. And a relationship can be a very big distraction, and it can threaten your sobriety. So for what that's worth, you know, that card could be representing that. The advice is the Five of Pentacles. So again, this is not, I don't recommend that you act like the Five of Pentacles, because this can be a card of pessimistic thinking. This can be a card of being too materialistic in your mindset and not seeing the spiritual, rejecting the spiritual. Sometimes Pisces people do go that route, believe it or not. They may be so much like that that they try to be overly rational so that they can, I can't think of the word, but compensate for their tendency to be, overcompensate for their tendency to be out there, kind of spaced out in the mystical. Maybe you're astral projecting or something, and you want to seem more grounded, so you may like overdo it to the point where you are very anti anything God, you know. And so don't do that because that's not going to help you. Use your intuition. Use your intuition to help you. You have a natural intuition. Don't use it to delude you. Use it to guide you. The other thing that this card represents is don't have pessimistic thoughts. Don't have lack consciousness. If you want your soulmate, you have to be willing to wait for the right person. Don't just get involved with anybody because you think that they are better than nothing. The other thing is this card could represent a Taurus person. I'm thinking the card actually represents Mercury and Taurus. This card could be a Taurus person who is actually doesn't mesh well with you. Maybe they are too materialistic and they aren't inspiring enough. I like this as the outcome. This is more your speed. The King of Cups. Now this could be just somebody who's a friend, a father figure, or your actual father who's very caring, compassionate. Maybe actually a water sign. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. But it could be somebody who understands you, understands what makes you tick, isn't there to judge you, is very gentle with you, could be a counselor, could be a priest, a monk, I don't know, a yoga teacher, somebody who is inspiring to you spiritually and, you know, can have you see, maybe even a psychic who can give you that sense of possibility that you can meet somebody. If this is an actual person in your life, it could be that you meet a person with a lot of water who is someone who isn't going to judge you, because some people might judge you, Pisces, and that's unfortunate that they see certain characteristics of you and think that you don't have it, you're not together enough, or you don't have good self-esteem. And it's not really about, you're a humble person. You're not here to impress anybody. You just want to love people. You know, that's what you're about. Some people want to show off what they're about. You want to love people. And so you might find somebody who is very mature in this sense, doesn't use the emotions to manipulate people, but actually uses it to comfort people. And this person may be just what you need in your life right now. Maybe you've been dealing with people who are too harsh. And so that would be very good. That would be very good. I think that would be the perfect person for you. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, Pisces. If you'd like a personal reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a lovely June. Bye.